If you have ever busted quicker than you wanted, you know that it's not exactly fun. And when it's something that you've been suffering for a while and it just keeps happening and happening, then pass from being a minor problem to a tantalic torture that you wouldn't even wish to your worst enemies. Well, I have to go through that for more than 5 years. During that time, after a ton of hours of research, an insane amount of shameful trials and errors, and a couple of broken relationships, I was finally able to overcome it. And the other good thing about dealing with this for such a long time is that I was able to differentiate the fluff from what actually works. And between these things, there's a powerful trick that you can literally start to use today to make you last way longer than usual. And today I want to share that with you. My name is Jesus Noya and I help men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant and be more attractive. All this while avoiding the deadly mistakes that I made through my sex life. This comes from my medical background of being a medicine student and 5 years of struggling with things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and non-existent sexual confidence. With today's video, I'm gonna be very straightforward. I want to help you to increase your time and dominance in bed, making your sex life way more pleasurable, exciting, and enjoyable. And very quick, if you want to be able to fuck for hours, become a sex god, and be the man of your life, go and click the link in the description right now to be in contact with me so we can work together to make that a reality as soon as possible. And now let's jump into the video. If you're a man that usually lasts very little, let's say around less than 1 minute to 5 minutes, and your sex life, to be honest, kind of sucks, like it used to be my case before, for example, or if you just want to increase your time and dominance in bed even more, the principles or practices are usually the same in both cases. There are some pillars that are super important that you should be working no matter what. That's your mental state, your emotional connection, and your physical health. If you work those in the long term, you will be getting compounding results that will change your life forever. But those usually take some time, at least a couple of weeks before you start to see the real life results. But the one I want to share with you today is one, let's say, a little bit more short term. It can make a difference this night if you apply it properly. For some people it may sound a little bit weird, but believe me, it works like wonders. And that is speaking to her while you guys are having sex. And I don't necessarily mean like dirty talk, I mean literally talking about whatever. And if you don't believe that something that could make a difference, let me share with you how I discovered this myself, and then I'll explain how you can replicate it and use it yourself. A couple of years ago, my time in bed was absolutely terrible. I used to have what people usually call severe premature ejaculation or chronic premature ejaculation, because we're talking that it used to last like less than 30 seconds, and sometimes I would finish even before starting to have sex, like even before putting my dick out. And when I asked for advice to other people and I was googling how I could solve this, people started to recommend things like try to masturbate before sex, use double condoms, numbing creams, and all that kind of BS that didn't work at all. If anything, they just made things worse, because anytime that I tried something new and wouldn't work, then I would feel more depressed and hopeless every time. One day I was with one of the girls that I used to date in the past, and we were spending a really good time together. At one point, without realizing it, things started to get more sexual, and she said that she wanted to make it, and I responded that I didn't want to. And that wasn't true, because I actually wanted to make it. It's just that I was really worried about coming too fast again, especially with her, as I already messed up a lot of times before. Anytime that we tried to have sex, it was always the same result, where she was all frustrated, and in my case I was just getting more of this crippling anxiety and sadness inside myself, because I wasn't feeling like a man. It was like I was handicapped, and I didn't want to go through that experience again. So I told her that I didn't feel like having sex in this moment, but she was able to see through my body language and the fact that I was getting hard that that wasn't true. And then she said, Jesus, you know, it's okay, you can just try it, don't worry that much, just try it. Obviously in a sexier tone than that, but you get the point. She said this and then just kept talking to me in such a peaceful and relaxed way while she was undressing herself and I was getting ready. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but what I remember very clearly is that was probably the first time in my life that it lasted way more than just 1 minute, and also the first time ever that I was able to pound a girl fast and hard, keeping the pace. We We kept talking to each other. I was making her laugh a little bit, and sometimes the words coming from my part were more for like just the sake of keep talking than to have a real conversation. This because she wasn't paying attention to whatever I was saying because she was focused on something else. That ended up being back then the best sex ever in my life, and both of us were shocked when that happened. I mean, just imagine, that came out of nowhere. We actually only stopped because someone else interrupted us, but we made it for a while, and I didn't even come during that whole session. After that happened, I was wondering like, okay, why this time was different? What was actually the thing that changed in comparison with all the things that I already tried before? And this is the conclusion I got to. Listen, sex is mainly psychological, and that psychological part plays a huge role in what is your timing and performance. One of the main reasons for something like premature ejaculation is the so-called performance anxiety. You know that feeling of being nervous and having a lot of intrusive thoughts once you're close to have sex? It's like a dark cloud that you have in your mind. I used to suffer that all the time, reaching to the point of even shaking sometimes. So in the moment that she said that it was okay and I should just like try it, I subconsciously felt relief, making me feel way more comfortable and secure, letting all that anxiety go away. It was like a huge weight was just taken out of my back, and by constantly speaking to her, this feeling was reinforced, not allowing the anxiety to come back for even just 1 second. And by having a clear mental state and being in the present moment, I was able to control my arousal way more, producing a significant increase in my performance and timing in bed. It's kind of similar to what another YouTuber called Shirley Cooper said once about how porn stars usually last way longer by counting the tiles in the roof while having sex, because that would deviate their mind from the arousal and that feeling of coming too quick and just focus on something else. This is also what we achieve by speaking. We're getting our mind away from that feeling of coming right now. So that's how it works. And now, if you want to apply this yourself, there are some things you gotta have in mind. I tested this trick in different situations, and sometimes works perfectly and others didn't at all. And I really want you to succeed, so have these things in consideration. First of all, try to be in a safe environment. I mean, being in a place where you guys can have sex with no problem. You're not going to be interrupted by someone else, you guys can be loud and move. Basically a place where you guys can make it with no restrictions. Because if you guys are in an insecure environment where a bunch of BS could happen and you have to like be alert and focus on all that, that anxiety is going to come in and it's going to make things way harder. Speaking to her still can help you because you can't forget about these factors and just focus on the conversation. But in general, it's going to be way better if that's something that is solved and you can just focus on you and her. The second thing is to elevate the pace gradually. What I mean by this is that even if you're speaking to her and you feel very confident in your timing now, don't go there and as soon as you put your dick in, make it like as fast as possible like a monkey. Sex is more like a dance, and if you want to reach to a high level of excitement, you have to reach there gradually. Try to synchronize your speech and the things that you're saying with the pace that you're having, and you're gonna see how it makes a difference. And the final factor is that she needs to be involved. I mean that she needs to be at least a little bit responsive and receptive to the things that you're saying, to be with you during this, because if not, then it's going to be a little bit weird and you may even feel nervous around that, because it's like you're saying something and you're not sure if what you're saying is right, if she's mad at you because you're saying some weird stuff while you guys are making it, or you ain't supposed to talk with having sex. Those kind of thoughts usually go to your mind and they don't help you at all. So it's better to avoid this. The more that she follows you into this game, the better it's going to be for both of you. And you got to get her to respond by, for example, just asking a couple of questions or saying something that you know for sure she's going to say something about it. Those kind of things. When these things are in order, then you basically don't even have to think about what to say. Could be anything. Obviously, don't say something stupid that could kill the moment, but in general, you can say almost anything. If you want some ideas from things that worked for me before, just say something about the present moment, something about you and her, or those kind of secret conversations that you know usually happen just between you all. You can never go wrong with those things. This trick, besides being effective for lasting longer, also adds a little bit more of enjoyment to the present moment that you guys are living right now, and makes you more present of the things that are happening. That at the end should be your main goal. Being able to live and experience a fulfilling and beautiful sex life. I want you to achieve that. That's the reason of why I'm sharing this trick and what I really wish for you. Again, if you want to be able to change your sex life forever and accelerate the process for you to become a sex god, go and click the link in the description right now. That way you can be in contact with me and we can work together to make that a reality for you as soon as possible. But besides that, man, I really hope this helps you, and I'll see you later.